At Smarty Vals, we're a family business that's more interested in leaving a positive impact on the world. For years, we've been certified by the Green Business Bureau at their highest level. Not to mention, we draw 80% of our electricity through solar panels. And we've even created our own wildflower garden to help the local bee population thrive. But our most important work has to do with helping the National Wildlife Federation every year to resolve issues between livestock and wildlife. Through their Adopt a Wildlife Acre program, we've adopted over 130,000 acres of land. That's the most acres adopted by any single donor, and that includes megacorporations. Our first project was to help protect the last non-genetically altered salmon bed in the United States, the Chinook salmon. These efforts were featured in an exclusive article from the New York Times, and they attribute this work as benefiting other species, specifically the orca whale. In fact, here we have Kit Fisher from the National Wildlife Federation, who can explain a little bit more about what they do.
Hi, this is Kit Fisher with the National Wildlife Federation. This work wouldn't have been possible without the generous support from GAP Technologies Incorporated, maker of the SmartEvals.com product. I hope that if you are a college or university considering using the SmartEvals.com product, you will know that this company has clearly demonstrated its environmental leadership. I'd like to extend our thanks to GAP Technologies for supporting wildlife across America. Thanks. In conservation, it seems like there are few wins where you can, at the end of the day, say, this made a big difference. We're here on the Cape Horn allotment on the Salmon Shoals National Forest in central Idaho. We're on Marsh Creek. It's a critical spawning habitat for endangered Chinook salmon, as well as really important habitat for bighorn sheep. This is one of the largest populations of bighorn sheep in Idaho. It's hard to imagine a place with more wildlife potential than this area. Extremely valuable wildlife habitat. These are our public lands. We're here to hopefully see some Chinook. The tributaries on the Cape Horn allotment represent some of the last remaining spawning grounds for native Chinook salmon. With the numbers of wild salmon, there's also domestic sheep grazing that has historically taken place in this region for nearly 100 years. When you have an endangered species and domestic livestock, there's certain to be some conflicts. Chinook salmon have made a 700-mile journey from the Pacific Ocean, gone over multiple dams. It's a huge journey. For them to suddenly be spawning and then be trampled by domestic sheep grazing is inexcusable. In addition, domestic sheep can transmit a type of pneumonia to bighorn sheep. That contact often results in whole herd die-offs and is typically disastrous to bighorn sheep herds. If we want to bring those species back to even a fraction of the numbers that they historically were, we have to be protecting these types of places. We target specifically these landscapes where this conflict exists, develop a relationship with the livestock permittee, and start conversations. We're lucky enough to develop an agreement with the sheep rancher. What we're doing is we're incentivizing him to waive that grazing permit back to the Forest Service. Ranchers are trying to make a living, and when there's economic problems, we have to find economic solutions. That's exactly what we're doing with this program, offering fair market value for permits that are having conflicts with wildlife. And we were lucky enough today to witness, after 100 years of grazing out on the Cape Horn area, the rancher was loading up his sheep onto his trucks and heading back south into southern Idaho. By taking domestic sheep off of this landscape, we are going to reduce that risk of damage to water quality, native trout and Chinook salmon. The rancher is happy he's able to secure grazing elsewhere. and wildlife is able to secure a future. We have 85,000 acres that is now open for bighorn sheep. Other big game species, upland bird species, the wildlife populations will thrive. We believe through National Wildlife Federation's Wildlife Conflict Resolution Program that this provides lasting change on these landscapes. This isn't something that disappears tomorrow. This is habitat that is protected forever. When we have concrete examples of wildlife habitat protection, and that's the ultimate win.
Follow us on Facebook.